If you're watching this video, you're already looking for a budget solution for a rear end for a 3rd or 4th gen Camaro. What if I told you that you could do one fairly cheap, not dirt cheap, but fairly cheap, and get by? If you have some tools, a little bit of fab skills, or a buddy that has some fab skills, I think that we can get by with building one for about the 1/3 of a price of what a 9-inch would go for. So let's give it a shot. We're gonna start with a rear end out of an F-150. Now this is a Ford 8.8. I have no clue how many miles in it, and unfortunately, this one is an open differential. The first step is stripping all the stuff we won't need off of this Ford 8.8. Now that's all stripped down, we're gonna put the axles back in it, and then I'm gonna measure a flange to flange width of this rear end to compare it to the 10-bolt. Right at about 66. Now why that's important is because the stock F-Body one from flange to flange is right around 64 3/4. So the good news is that one is too wide. So now we just have to figure out how narrow we want to cut it. Now we got our measurement and we know it's wide enough to work in an F-Body. We're gonna have to cut down the tubes, but we need to get all these old brackets off. So we're gonna go ahead and take the torch, cut those brackets off. Now the 8.8 tubes aren't very thick, so we can't really cut super close to the tube because we'll go right through it. So we're gonna cut some of the brackets off and then grind what's remaining. Not the cleanest cut. I was hoping I was gonna be able to get a little bit more flush, but I was just too nervous that I was gonna get too close to the tube. But now I'll just get the angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. We'll knock the rest of that off, grind it smooth, and it should be good to go. All right, well after some four-wheeler riding and some lawn mowing, we got these tubes all cleaned up. I found where the pinion location was on a stock 10-bolt because, well, as we spin around here, I actually have a car up on the hoist, and that's how I found out the center of it. So then I did some math after I located the pinion on this. And in order to get the right pinion center line for the car, we just went ahead and marked it right there. You can see it's right on the edge of this one and right here. We're just trying to match the flange to flange measurement on this rear end, which just happens to be right around 59 1/8 or 59 1/4. I've found a lot of varying facts on the one that's in the shop. That one's 59 1/4, and I actually have one out back that was 59 1/8. Either way, we're gonna try to split the difference here. Now I marked all these with a pipe fitting wrap, so I have a nice round or straight true line. We're gonna cut the ends of them off. Got the ends cut off pretty flush, not too bad. But one of the interesting things I found, if you look in here, that's part of a bearing. So either we had a pinion bearing that came apart in this, or it came apart previously, and that was just left over. We need to deburr all this, but not too much because we don't want to change how those ends fit in there. We're going to go away from the C-clip style axle, and what we're going to do is put 9-inch ends on it. Now you can see I've had these for a while because I've planned on this build for a while and I just haven't gotten to it. Anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to put these on right here. And now the bottom on these, you can get these from Strange or Mosier or Quick Performance, wherever you decide. But the bottom of this has a flat spot on it, and this is going to make it a little bit easier for locating the ends. And not only that, it's the right pattern for GM backing plates. So these have to go here. Now, as you can see, it'll tilt and side to side. So how are we going to get that end straight? This is where it gets tricky. Because yes, this is a budget build, but you are going to have to spend some money or find somebody that has a truing bar, just like I did. I'm lucky enough that I have a buddy, Josh, that has a bar and the pucks made for an 8.8. He does Mustangs and F-Bodies and all that, so I was able to borrow this. So we're going to have to put this in, set up the puck setup, and then that'll help us locate our ends on the tubes. Now I just need to take my measurement, make sure that we are where we need to be. And we are perfect. I couldn't ask for it to be any better than that. Wow. Okay. Brought this rear end back inside, mainly because now it's close to the welder and we can get back to tacking all my brackets on, setting it up so we can set everything at the right degree. And yeah, makes things easier. So truing bar's in it, torqued in. I have not tack welded my ends yet. Let's talk about these brackets. These brackets here are 1 of 1. My buddy Benjamin designed them. You can see that they're just kind of tacked up right now. And we're gonna use them as a prototype, fit them, see what we like, what we don't like. And eventually, they might be available for sale to whoever wants to do this. So in order to fit this, As you can see, my angle finder's over here. So in order to try to get all this right, what I did is I went ahead and I shimmed my pinion in order to set it directly at 90 degrees. And I checked it on both sides. I found that the back of the housing was the most reliable, but unfortunately my pinion bearing's a little wore in this. And after all that's set, we'll also use it to degree and level my spring purchase. If you're wondering how I got the spacing right for my control arm brackets, I measured it off of that 10 bolt that's in that car. I unfortunately am not going to give you all those measurements, not because I don't want you to steal them, but in case this doesn't work out or I need to make some changes, I don't want you to go, well, Austin's video said, because, well, it could be wrong. All right, you've watched me tack all these brackets on. I came up with a little bit of a hiccup with our pan hard mount, which we kind of knew was going to be an issue. And then the other thing we had problems with was a spacing of our shock mounts from side to side. So I did freehand some of these brackets here to make them fit a little bit better. And that's just the part of designing new brackets. They were really close. They just need a little bit of modification, which we'll now be able to update, or Ben will be able to update. And the next set should be much better. The next thing we need to do is put some spring locators on it. Both sides. I ended up going to the local scrapyard and I found that piece which just happened to be the right OD to fit the spring. I cut them, cleaned them up, and we're gonna weld them there. You guys have seen me tack weld and weld enough stuff, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these locators on, weld the rest of these brackets up, and I'll be right back. Brackets are welded on, locating cups are done. Now it's time to move on to the torque arm mount. You can see where I have this line here, and if you've looked at 8.8 builds, you know that I'm going to be using a Hiltsy mount. Mark's mount's been around for a long time. He provides awesome instructions on how to put it together. It's been proven, it's been done a lot. I even think Hawk's 3rd gen uses that mount still. But as you can see, I've already welded it together. We just got to put it on. I still got to grab some bolts and finish this part up. As you can see, I had tacked and then I just didn't like how it was looking, so I broke the tacks. So I'll finish up fitting that on. I'll probably tack it on, and then I got to preheat the housing. They say it's cast steel, they say it's cast iron. Whatever it is, I've watched some videos, and I think the way to go is to weld it with some stainless steel wire. It has a higher nickel content, seems to work a lot better. So we'll preheat the whole center section to about 250 degrees, maybe 300, and then we'll weld. Preheated it with the torch, welded it with stainless wire, 308. Now I've wrapped it in the welder's blanket, and we're gonna let this cool down slowly. So that looks nice and sturdy. I did leave this bolted up, and then obviously I worked around the housing here. Now we just need to weld our 9-inch ends on. These, as I showed earlier, they have a nice flat spot on them. So I set my pinion angle back at 0. I'm coming back here, and you can see I already made my marks to get this as close as I can to have them also at 0. So we put them down here, we'll look close enough. So I'm going to tack weld these. And after they're tack welded, the goal is to keep that true bar so it can still spin freely after it's welded. All right, got them welded in. As you can see, the bar spins nice and free. Definitely not my prettiest welds, but they're just gonna have to do. After I removed the truing bar, I went ahead and put the carrier back in it, put the pin back in. Now I'm gonna measure to the carrier pin. As you can see, I got my tape measure in there. I'm gonna grab my measurement. Now I measure for my axles. And I'm not gonna give those measurements to you, just like I said earlier in the video. I'm not even sure if they're right, but I am gonna order that length, and then I will have a part 2 of this video when we're fitting the rear end, seeing if everything fits up right, and if it works. I'm feeling pretty optimistic. There's obviously gonna be some changes we'll make with the brackets, and there are some different things I'd do with the axle tubes. I think that I would actually move the whole center section over to the passenger side a little bit more, just for a little bit more torque arm clearance. But that can always be next time. Please like and subscribe and follow along for part 2. Hoping to have these axles here in the next week or 2, and we'll throw it in.